Welcome to part 4 of lesson 1.1 on sign numbers. So we're going to take a look at this last set of rules for it, and this has to do with multiplying and dividing. When we were doing alliances and wars, that was for the operations of addition, subtraction. And remember, a plus sign doesn't mean add and a minus sign doesn't necessarily mean subtract. You have to look at the signs of both numbers and decide if it's an alliance or a war. That's the method you need to use. And for multiplication and division, there's a different set of rules. So alliances and wars are just for addition and subtraction. Now, I wrote down all the possible rules here. A positive times a positive is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative. So I have these rules. And the rules for division of those signs is exactly the same. So it doesn't matter whether you're multiplying or dividing. The rules are the same for multiplication and division when you're dealing with sign numbers. Now, there's 8 different rules here. 4 for multiplication, 4 for division. We could simplify it down to one rule, though. Negatives cancel in pairs when multiplying and dividing. So in other words, if you have 2 negatives, they're going to cancel and your answer is going to be positive. If you have 1 negative, like here we have 1 negative, the answer is negative. Here you had 1 negative, the answer is negative. Here, between the two numbers, 1 was negative, your answer is negative. Here, this one's negative, that one's positive, your answer is negative. So if you have only 1 negative, your answer is going to be negative. But if you have 2 negatives, whether you're multiplying or dividing, those cancel each other and they become a plus, which is very, very much related to what we were talking about with double negatives, right? It's a very similar concept. Okay, so let's go ahead and work through these 6 problems. So the way I do multiplication and division for positives and negatives, I do the math first, and then I decide what the sign is. So here we have 5 times negative 2, so I'm just doing 5 times 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, and then is it a positive 10 or a negative 10? Well, there's only 1 negative there, and negatives cancel in pairs, which means in order for them to cancel, I would need 2 of them. I don't have 2, only 1. So my answer is negative. Another way to think of this is if you had 5 friends and you owed them each $2, then you would owe a total of $10. This problem is identical to this one. I wrote it differently. So you see that we're using like an X symbol for multiplication. We're going to move away from that. And your multiplication will either be shown using a dot or using parentheses. We'll talk more about the role parentheses play in lesson 1.2 on sign numbers. But here, 5 times 2 is still 10. There's only 1 negative, so my answer is negative. Let's go to the next one. So here we have negative 8 divided by negative 4. Well, let's do the numbers first. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then the question, is it positive 2 or negative 2? Well, it was a negative divided by a negative. So since there are 2 negatives, they cancel each other. Your answer is positive. All right, for D, we're going to do 2 times 6, which is 12. And then is it positive 12 or negative 12? Well, these are both negative, right? You have 2 negatives, so it's going to make a positive. Moving to the next one, we have 15 divided by 3, which is 5. And is it positive or negative? Well, there was only 1 negative, so there's nothing to cancel that negative. So the answer is negative 5. And for the last one, this is a little bit of a challenge problem, but we can work this one thing at a time. So negative 2 times negative 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to bring down my parenthesis, and I'm going to bring down my negative 4 because I haven't dealt with this number yet. I just did these 2. Is this a positive 6 or a negative 6? Well, it's a negative times a negative, so it is a positive. The negatives cancel. My next step is then to multiply these 2 together. 6 times 4 is 24. There's only 1 negative, so my answer is negative. All right, that concludes the lesson 1.1. Just a reminder, if you have questions, if there are things that were confusing or you have follow-up questions, please ask me in class. Or if you can come in a little earlier, that's even better. Happy to answer the questions. That's what I'm here for. So the videos are just a way for you to get the lessons in if you've been absent. It's not as good as being there, but it's better than me just handing you filled out notes. So I hope you found these useful. And then once again, if you have questions, please come ask me. That is my job. That's what I do. So you're not bothering me. You're not putting me out. I like questions. I like answering them. That's my job as a teacher. All right. We'll hope this went well, and we'll see you in class.